Charlotta Schlyter is a Swedish ambassador to Bangladesh. She joined as an ambassador of the Swedish embassy in Dhaka on September 2017. Before that, she was the deputy head of mission at the Swedish embassy located in Bangkok. After taking the responsibility as an ambassador of Sweden embassy to Bangladesh, she has been playing a significant role in different sectors of Bangladesh, such as trade and business, human rights and gender equality, economic growth and social dialogue, environment and climate change, health, education and crisis prevention and resilience. Dear viewers, welcome to us today's World News 24. Now we are talking to the Swedish ambassador to Bangladesh, Charlotta Schlyter. Thank you very much for joining with us, Excellency.
Thank you, and welcome to the Swedish Embassy.
Thank you very much. Excellency, we know that as a Swedish ambassador to Bangladesh, you have almost passed 2 years in Bangladesh. How do you like Bangladesh?
Very much. It's been a great 2 years in Bangladesh so far. I like it very much. And I really can feel the close relations between our countries.
There is a strong bilateral relations between the two countries, Sweden and Bangladesh. What kind of steps would you like to take to further strengthen this bilateral relations between the two countries?
Right, yeah, we have long relations. Actually, our relations go back to the very beginning. We're one of few European embassies that have been present in Bangladesh for the entire time. We focused a lot on development cooperation, especially in the early years, and that's still very important and ongoing. But we'd like to see relations continuing to broaden, to also more trade relations. Of course, we've already seen that happen. And also, of course, we'd like to see Bangladesh as a future partner and to engage in dialogue with us on, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals, where Sweden will continue to emphasize issues of good governance, human rights, democracy, and also climate and environment issues, all of which is also important to Bangladesh.
At present, a stable and congenial atmosphere has been prevalent in Bangladesh. Under dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh, it's a called favorable investment environment at the present. So far, in my knowledge that at present, at the moment, there are more than 50 Swedish or Swedish-related companies represented in Bangladesh. So, is there any plan to more investment to expedite the Swedish trade and business in Bangladesh?
Yes, absolutely. You're right, there are about 50 companies already present, and we hope that there will be more. In the next few years. A lot of companies are looking with interest at Bangladesh and the opportunities here. However, it is also still, in fact, a difficult business environment. So something that we have also been encouraging together with others is for there to be more steps taken to improve ease of doing business in Bangladesh. So we will continue to encourage that while also continuing to encourage Swedish companies to consider Bangladesh.
In which sectors would the Swedish companies like to invest in Bangladesh?
Right. Swedish companies are strong on sustainability and on innovation, all of which will be very important to Bangladesh in the next few years. So that's the area. It's telecommunications, it's in the power sector, it's while upgrading, of course, industries to the next generation of factories. All of this, I believe, is where Swedish companies have a lot to offer.
Just on the other hand, in whose sectors of Sweden, is there any opportunity to invest by Bangladesh investors in Sweden?
Well, of course, it would be interesting also to see more Bangladeshi companies looking at Sweden. We consider import and export equally important for both countries. So certainly we would encourage that.
What kind of goods can be imported and exported between the two countries, Bangladesh and Sudan?
But right now there's a lot of focus on ready-made garments. In fact, a number of Swedish companies do buy a lot of ready-made garments in Bangladesh, so that's great volume. In the future it might be broadened to other products. Let's see. And at the same time, of course, as I said, I hope that there will be more exports to Bangladesh.
That means you would like to say that a lot of opportunity for Bangladeshi exported in the Sudan.
I would hope so, yes.
Excellency, is there any plan to take skilled manpower from Bangladesh to Sudan? That means if so, what kind of skilled manpower would you like to take? Please tell it in details.
Well, there's no sort of organized effort specifically with Bangladesh, but there are manpower opportunities in Sweden, not least I think in areas such as IT and programming, various types of skilled labor. There would certainly also be opportunities in Sweden.
Another question: the students of Bangladeshi students are very interested to stay in to study in Sweden. That means Bangladeshi students are very interested to study in Sweden. Would you please tell us about the education system of Sweden? That means actually what are the main reasons to study in Sweden than that of other countries? Yes.
Yeah. Well, there is actually a strong tradition of Bangladeshi students coming to Sweden to study even since the early years of Bangladesh, and this continues. So there are many students choosing Sweden as a destination to study. There are a number of very highly ranked universities in Sweden, and again, focus is often on sustainability and on innovation. But there's a broad variety of studies that can be done in Sweden. A few things I think are particular for Sweden is that there's a great focus on group work and your own innovation, i.e. thinking for yourself in the studies. There's a strong focus on gender equality and on, let's say, broad governance issues. And also you have great access to nature in Sweden. Many Swedish universities are situated in areas where you can also enjoy the country for yourself. Why not on a bike?
Just at the moment, we would like to know that how many Bangladeshi students are currently studying in Sweden?
I don't know the exact number, but several hundred certainly.
Students. Is there any capacity to get the Swedish visa in the field of student study? In this context, what kind of rules and procedures should be followed by the students who get the Swedish visa easily?
Well, I won't answer in detail in visa because I have colleagues at the embassy who are much more qualified to do that. But I would encourage an early application, especially because of the great interest. You need to leave some time to get the visa before you depart for your studies.
At the moment, just we would like to know that a lot of students here and there in Bangladesh want to study in Sweden, but only for it's clear for the visa purpose and complexity. Most of the students does not want to the application to the Swedish embassy. There's a rural students. Most of the students they are staying in rural area in Bangladesh. They are very interested to study in Sweden. What do you want to tell about these students?
Well, again, do apply to the universities and then do apply for the visa early. But you do have to leave some time for that. And of course, from the embassy, we do try our best to be as helpful as we can. But the applications are also then, of course, processed in Sweden at the migration board. So we do need proper time in order to apply.
Okay, thank you, Excellency. Just another question, just another topic. What is the latest situation, latest stance of the tourism sector of Sweden? Actually, whether you have taken any initiative to encourage the foreign tourists to Sweden or not?
Yes, no, we do. We do welcome tourists to Sweden. And I think people come much for nature. People who are interested in enjoying nature, not least in summer. It's a good time. But there are some rather interesting winter things to do. You can ski in Sweden, and in the far north there is something called the Ice Hotel, which is a hotel made by ice. You'll be sleeping on an ice bed. So nature is really in great focus, and of course visiting the main cities in Stockholm, or in Sweden, including Stockholm, the capital.
Yes, listening to your interesting thing, beautiful scenario. Just I'm very interested to go to the Sweden. I think right now I go to the Sweden to watch this tourism place. Thank you very much. Just are there any special facilities for foreign tourists in your country than that of other country?
Well, the special facilities might be the places I already mentioned, but it's there's country views and there's city views. There's moose, which is an unusual animal, right, for Bangladeshis. So lots to see certainly, and of course I would encourage Bangladeshis to consider Sweden and the Nordic countries in general for a visit.
Sweden's ambassador to Bangladesh has been extensively working in the health sector of Bangladesh, in improving the basic health, they focus in the particularly on women and the children, sexual and reproductive health and rights. Would you please say something in details about this matter?
Sure. Now this is an area where, through our development cooperation, we've supported Bangladesh's efforts through the years and still do. We believe that women's health and reducing maternal deaths is key to the development of any country, and not least at the stage where Bangladesh is at. So, and we also have, in that context, actually helped the UN to provide training for midwives, which is something that's also the way of assisting birth giving in Sweden.
Excellency, just beside the health sector, Sweden Embassy to Bangladesh has been greatly working with the gender equality in the spaces of a priority in Bangladesh. Therefore, in this context of the latest situation of this gender equality in Bangladesh, what is your exact opinion about that?
Yeah. No, we do emphasize gender equality in all sectors of society, and actually even a few years back we introduced what we have called a feminist foreign policy, because of the conviction that gender equality has to be front and center for any efforts for societies to develop. So it's true that it's part of all aspects of the development cooperation we do, which is in other areas as well, of course, climate, environment, human rights, inclusive growth, and the health, as you already mentioned. And I do think that Bangladesh has made great strides and lots of progress in the last few years, not least when it comes to women's inclusion in the economy. But then, of course, there are, as in all societies, also many challenges. For example, that child marriage is still so common is a great concern, and of course also levels of violence, which is a concern in all societies, but also in Bangladesh.
If you want to remove the gender inequality from our society system of Bangladesh, what kind of steps should be taken, or what should be done, do you think?
Well, I would emphasize important societal reform. You have to look at, for example, quality childcare for both parents to feel comfortable to join the workforce. You have to look at parental leave for both men and women, to create a better and easier balance between working life and home life. I also do believe that strong justice systems that function well are important, for example, to follow up on violence issues, which again is something that requires a lot of efforts to counter as well.
Excellency, thank you, Evelyn. But at the last moment, we'd like to know that it's just another thing, this climate change. My question is, the Swedish government has been working together with the other countries of the world in the field of tackling the impact of climate change. Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable country in the world to climate change. So, whether the Swedish government will stand by this Bangladesh government in combating the effect of the climate change?
Yes, absolutely. And part of our development program is in fact focused on climate. And you're right, Bangladesh especially is suffering the effects of the climate change that not Bangladesh only has created, but in fact that we have all jointly created. When it comes to water, for example. Sweden emphasizes climate change as one of really the issues of all our future destinies. So it's a big priority for us, and we're promoting also climate change for the UN to step up its work to assist countries on climate change, and will continue to do so, yes.
Yes, main climate change summit is going to be held in the United Nations headquarters on the 23rd September this month. You know very well. Then my another question is, the force, you know very well that the forced displacement of more than 700,000 Rohingya population within less than 1 year for Myanmar is considered to be one of the worst humanitarian crises of the world. The unprecedented magnitude of influx of Rohingya since the 25th of August in 2017 created an accumulated figure of forcibly displaced Rohingya shelter in Bangladesh to about 1.1 million. So this crisis is not only for Bangladesh, it is a global issue in the country. Whether this Swedish government will come forward to tackle this humanitarian crisis of Rohingya in Bangladesh?
I agree with you. It is an issue for the world community, not only for Bangladesh, but it's Bangladesh that has, supported by the UN, organized the response for so many people who came over the border and really deserves the praise for having done so. And I understand that there are major concerns for what the future holds. The hope was and remains that people would be able to go back to their homes in Myanmar, but it seems that the conditions are not yet there for that to happen. Sweden has been supportive and standing side by side with Bangladesh from early on. We were members of the Security Council and did try to help mobilize the support for solutions. But also we have been supportive of the humanitarian funding since the very beginning. Now part of our development program is also going for efforts in the Cox's Bazar area, but then to the refugees, but also to the host communities, of course, whose lives have been greatly impacted by so many people coming to the area.
Just another question. So Bangladesh is a small country, you know very well, than that of neighboring countries. There's more than 163 million people are living in Bangladesh. In this midst of all these things, our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has shown exemplary leadership by responding to the call of the humanity, of the opening of the door for the people of these things. How do you explain it from your own experience?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is admirable, as I said before, to receive that many people in such short a time, as happened here in Bangladesh. So again, we will continue to be as supportive as we can from our side, and you know you have in the world community many other allies who will continue to support you.
Excellency, at the last moment, we would like to know that as a Swedish ambassador to Bangladesh, what is your latest message to the people of Bangladesh?
Well, I think the message is you've come an enormously long way. Sweden is a friend in the north, and we're looking forward to being a supporter and also a dialogue partner in the coming years to Bangladesh. So the message is really one of friendship and future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much.